Did you know that back in the year 2000, Konami released a licensed Disney DDR game for the N64 exclusively in Japan? 'Cause I sure didn't. Let's talk about it.
Alright, where do I even begin here? As far as I knew, I was under the impression that Dance Dance Revolution hadn't made its way onto a Nintendo console until the GameCube. At this point, I have no idea where or how, but somehow, while browsing around looking for weird gaming stuff, I stumbled across this Japanese exclusive Disney DDR game for the N64 of all things, and it immediately blew my mind as I had no idea there was a DDR game that was ever made for the console, and I've never heard anyone else talk about it either. I even had a talk with our resident obscure peripheral guy, Derek from Stop Skeletons from Fighting, thinking he'd know something about it since he's typically the guy to ask about this kind of thing, and even he didn't know this thing existed. Now, normally this isn't the type of topic I would cover, but it seemed too weird and relatively unknown to pass up, so I made my way to eBay and bit the bullet on a complete in-box copy of the game and spent definitely way more than I should have. Hey, real quick, if you keep watching the video and you like what you see, consider subscribing. It honestly makes a world of difference when you guys actually subscribe, so if you want to see more, press that button. That's all I gotta say. Now on to the rest of the video. So I just want to preface this entire thing by saying I have literally no idea what I'm doing. I've never played DDR in my life, so this whole experience of playing through and documenting this game has been quite the learning experience, and what I learned is I am not cut out for DDR. That being said, I streamed the entire thing over on my Twitch channel, which you can find right here, by the way, as I figured it was the best way to not only document my reaction in real time, but also get the footage of both the game and the gamepad, while also having an audience thankfully help me fumble my way through all the menus I couldn't read. At one point, I even had to phone a friend. I'm gonna call Gerard real quick. Because he plays DDR all the time. He's literally, him and Johnny are like the only two people I can think of. Hey, Gerard. Did I just wake you up? Well, I'm on stream right now, and I had to ask you a question because I don't know what the f I'm doing. When it was all said and done, though, I was pretty much able to figure out everything this game had to offer. I'll probably regret putting my bare feet on the internet for countless people to see, but I suppose it's too late to turn back now. As for what came in the box, there's no surprises here. Game, manual, dance pad, nothing particularly exciting. I will say, though, the pad itself is actually super weird. I've seen lots of DDR pads before, and they've all been relatively similar, but this one weirdly has this, like, extra clear film layer over it. I really have no idea why, but it made the whole experience feel pretty sloppy, like I was playing on top of a loose garbage bag. Upon booting the game up, I immediately had no idea what I was looking at. As I said before, I'm not familiar at all with DDR, so I had no idea what would even be on the main screen of a DDR game. I knew obviously there had to be some kind of arcade mode, but outside of that, I was completely lost as almost all text in this game is Japanese. Save for a few words here and there, and selecting any options at all only gave me more Japanese text that I couldn't understand, so a big chunk of this experience was me trying to figure out just what I was looking at. With the help of chat, eventually though, we were able to figure out after selecting what was clearly the arcade mode that the submenu beyond that had options for 1-player, 2-player, and also a pretty cool hybrid mode, but I'll touch on that in a bit. Beyond that is the difficulty selection, and seeing as how I'm a complete beginner, but too prideful to play on easy, I selected the medium difficulty. Now the songs available are kinda weird. Sure, there are a few recognizable Disney tunes, but a lot of what's here is stuff I've either never heard of or songs that aren't necessarily associated with Disney. Probably my favorite song in the whole game was this Daisy Duck song that sounded like a track straight out of Mega Man X4. I'm not kidding. Take a listen. All things considered, these weren't hard at all, and this is coming from someone who has no idea what he's doing. Though I will say, some of these dances are awkwardly slow and take almost no concentration even on hard mode, to the point where they were frustrating to play, namely this Pluto one, which I unfortunately had to play multiple times, but I'll get to that soon enough. It was a bit of a slog to get through all of these because I guess it's a thing in DDR where you sort of dance through a set when you play through arcade mode, so I was only able to play through the songs 3 at a time, which ended up adding unnecessary playtime, but at least it gave me an opportunity to write some dumb shit in the high score screen. This is for She Says from Boundary Break, since he thinks I say this all the time. Somebody clip this and send it to She Says, and let him know that I think that this game is a bunch of poo. Now, the game has an okay amount of songs, not a ton, but they're all pretty short, and I got through all of them pretty quickly on stream. Something just didn't seem right to me. I mean, I know this is technically a kid's game, so I didn't expect it to be overloaded with content, but something about the short song list struck me as odd. I thought for sure there had to be more content here, but after navigating and figuring out the menu with chat, the only other options on the main menu were a training mode, an options menu, and this peculiar screen that looks like some sort of password menu. But during half the entire stream, no one could figure out what it could possibly be for. Until, however, we went back out to try that hybrid mode that we didn't even realize was a thing at first. So I'll admit, I have no idea if this is normal for a DDR game or if this is even a thing in other DDR games, but Dance Dance Revolution Disney Dancing Museum has a mode where you not only use the gamepad to perform the typical DDR steps, but you also simultaneously use the controller to occasionally use the shoulder buttons for percussion. The shoulder buttons on the N64 controller basically act as a clap, and while it's not insanely demanding, I do have to say this is probably the most entertaining part of the game. I'm not even somebody who's good at multitasking, but the game asking me to occasionally clap while also matching the dance steps added a pretty neat layer of depth that I not only wasn't expecting, but ended up keeping my attention and keeping me engaged, which I must say is extremely difficult given the fact that I have ADHD. So as I mentioned earlier, we found that password screen but couldn't figure out what it could possibly be for, right? Well, as it turns out, that password screen is so that you can re-unlock the hidden songs you earn. Exclusive to this mode specifically is where you unlock hidden songs within the game. For whatever reason, this weird hybrid mode specifically gives you a chance to unlock hidden content. As you play through each song in this mode, some of the arrows will actually show up as puzzle pieces, which can be collected by making sure you get that dance step down, and you can only pick up X amount during each playthrough of the song. Once you finish, all the pieces you've collected will start to put together album art for each hidden song, and once you've collected enough pieces to finish the image, a new song unlocks, and there's one hidden song for each regular song, which means you'll need to play through every single song in the game multiple times to even be able to unlock the hidden ones. Now, for the sake of the video, I unlocked a couple songs on my own just to record it, but there was no way in hell I was gonna be doing that for every single song. Luckily, a viewer who was in chat saved the day with an unlock all songs password, and after inputting that, I couldn't in good faith not play through all the hidden songs, so I did just that. Some notable tracks include the Tiki Room, which naturally I made sure to S rank.
I fucking S'd it. I fucking S'd that shit. I fucking S'd that shit. I S'd that shit.
Fan favorite, Mickey Motion.
I'm losing my fucking mind. Let's go! Let's go! Let's do the fucking Mickey Motion!
And of course, who could forget?
Minnie's you! No! I don't want to do Minnie's Yoo-Hoo. All right, I guess we're doing Mickey Mouse's Hoo-Ha or whatever. Oh, I A-ranked it. I didn't get D in Minnie's Yoo-Hoo.
After unlocking all the hidden songs, not only do you unlock all the artwork for each one that you can go back to and view like a little museum, but it brings the tracklist grand total to 20. That being said, all the songs are still extremely short, and the entire stream, after fumbling around menus, trying to learn the game, and even calling a friend for help, the entire stream was only about 2.5 hours. Now, granted, I didn't try the training mode because I didn't really see the point, and the only other options this game has is, well, the options menu, which, from what I can tell, just lets you adjust the sensitivity or accuracy of the game, making it either more strict or more forgiving, kind of like a calibration adjustment. Still though, I've got to say the game is pretty lacking in terms of overall content, but it's not like I was really expecting much anyway, though to be fair, having no prior experience with DDR or really any rhythm games outside of like Guitar Hero, I have basically no metric for how much content these games are supposed to have, but something just seems odd to me about selling this huge ass box with a giant peripheral for a whopping 2 hours of content. Now look, I'm not a complete idiot, the arcade nature of this is not lost on me, obviously these games are super replayable, but they could have definitely at least included more songs, that's all I'm saying. I actually didn't mention this earlier, but I thought it was pretty cool that they layered cartoony sprites over entirely 3D modeled backgrounds. I must not have been paying attention at first because I didn't realize it until like halfway into the game for some reason, despite almost every song starting out with the camera moving around and panning in, but from what I can tell, all the backgrounds are fully modeled in 3D. Clearly, they wanted to take advantage of the N64's capabilities, but it's hard to tell because it's not often that the camera moves, which means this was mostly unnecessary for them to do. They basically just did it to make the first 4 seconds of every song look impressive, which is honestly pretty commendable. The game had literally no reason to incorporate 3D, but they did it anyway. I've got to say, this was quite the learning experience, not only for myself, but the people who watched this whole show take place. I went into this thing having no prior knowledge of this entire franchise and had to not only learn how to play DDR, but do so while trying to navigate a game written in a language I don't even understand. But I guess that's half the fun, right? No way this journey would have been half as interesting if I had any idea what I was doing and knew how to read everything. I even somehow got out of breath a few times, which I then was ashamed of because I realized the last person who probably played this was a Japanese child 20 years ago. All in all, I have to say, despite the fact that I had trouble with the menus, this wasn't a bad little game, and it's unfortunate we never got it here among other weird licensed DDR games like Mario Mix for the GameCube. Now, this stands as a weird exclusive release with a normally common gaming peripheral that most people probably assume was just never made for the N64. Speaking of, with some advice from Uncle Derek, who I mentioned I spoke to at the start of the video, I do have one more video idea for this thing. I won't say what it is, or how soon I'll actually try to even figure out how to pull it off, but there is one more video idea I have in the pipeline. For now, I guess I'll just sit here and contemplate the fact that thousands upon thousands of people have now seen my feet. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it and want to see more, there's a couple other videos right there you can check out. And if you want to see everything I upload, subscribe and then tap the bell icon. And if you want to help support the channel, I also have a Patreon right there too.